Ms. Move, is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Because one of the lights is burned out on the voting machine, we will now vote by voice today. So all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed by like sign. Thank you. We've got 3 suburban district applications for funding. Mr. Carlton, I understand that you are in the position today of being in charge.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. As you said, 3 applications, Deer Creek Public School District for a driveway and parking lot for $136,444.77. Mustang Public Schools at the high school, replacement of the north building of the high school. It is a total replacement for $1.2 million. There is an additional $1 million in bond funding that's going to be picked up by the school district itself to complete the project. And the third is at Putnam City School District for 3 new buses for special needs students. And we do have a representative from Putnam City here if you have any questions.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, I'd recognize a motion to approve all 3 applications for funding.
Move approval.
It's been moved. Is there a second? Second. Moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed by like sign. Thank you. Financial reports. First, we're being asked to approve the the Oklahoma City Metropolitan Area Public Schools Trust Revenue and Obligation Report for May of 2011. Do you have any comments, Mr. Carlton?
Total revenue to date for the trust is $571,771,000. That's the total for May. There were, we can go to payments later.
Are there any other questions about the revenue and obligation report? Seeing none, I'd recognize a motion to approve this report.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed by like sign. Thank you. Next, we'll go over and being asked to ratify the Oklahoma City Metropolitan Area Public Schools Trust payments.
Mr. Chairman, trust payments for the period June 13th through July the 6th, 2011, total $5.3 million. There was also slightly over $1 million in payments made on the bond projects.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, I'd recognize a motion that we ratify the payments.
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed by like sign. Thank you. We have a preliminary design report for Taft Middle School, Project ES70.
We have 2 presentations today. The first is by MOTA for Taft. Omar Corey is here to do the presentation for the preliminary report.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
As a non-recent graduate from Taft, it gives me great pleasure to be able to present to you the preliminary design report on this great building. Our scope was to convert the existing building from a 950 student population, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, into a 691 student population, 7th and 8th grade facility. Renovate the existing building to enhance the learning environment, repair, modernize, and convert all the existing spaces to meet the new instructional program. Along with this, I know those are pretty broad terms, but to narrow it down to what we needed to do to the building, we were given a list of items that were done as part of the site and facility assessment. Along with that, we were tasked with going out to the building and the site and seeing if there are any additional items that we needed to do and take care of in this scope, and take a look at the original site and facility assessment and see if there's anything that's been updated or done to that during the time frame from when the site and facility assessment was basically done until now. I'm not going to go over these line item by line item, but as far as our scope of what we needed to be doing for this particular project, we combined the 2 lists and came up with a comprehensive list of items that we needed to take care of to produce the type of project that the district and the trust needed. So there was items that were part of the code-related items. There were items that we needed to take care of because there were some damages being done to the building because of water infiltrations and things like that. As far as the exterior of the building is concerned, we're taking care of 4 different elements. We're cleaning all the grime and the dirt that's been on the building facades since it was built. We're adding a new elevator, which is the only thing that we're adding as part of a new construction. The rest of the items are either having to deal with renovating the site or interior renovations. The 2 major items that we're doing on the exterior to mitigate the water damage that's coming into the building is a new roofing system. The existing roof has leaks, multiple leaks throughout, and we are modifying the existing drainage system around the building. There's a lot of water coming into the building and ruining the wood floors at the ground level. As part of that item, the water infiltration as well, we're having issues with condensation lines in the existing HVAC systems around the windows, and those items are pretty close to their life cycle, so we need to get those replaced. And those are items that were not addressed as part of the original site assessment, but these are items that we need to address to move on past this. As far as the interior layout is concerned, we basically have 3 levels. The addition of the elevator allows us to access all 3 levels for accessibility, for ADA accessibility. The lower level consists of a kitchen, the cafeteria, and a couple of classrooms. The kitchen itself is non-accessible currently, especially the serving line, so we need to modify that portion of it to make it accessible for the students. So we need to push the existing kitchen out into the cafeteria. In doing so, we lose some of the cafeteria space, so we need to expand the existing cafeteria. Those are the 2 items that go hand in hand at the basement level. On the main level, we're going back to the existing concept from when the building was built in 1931. All the communal spaces are centralized in the core, meaning all your athletic venues, the gymnasium, the auditorium, the library are all centralized in their current location. We're centralizing the current administration area because it's separated throughout the building and making it more accessible from the 2 main entries of the building, as well as all of the shared spaces and electives. They're all centralized, and on the wings is where all the classrooms happen. This is true also for the 3rd level. We have a 2-story auditorium, and then the classrooms are on the 2 wings and on that corridor facing that auditorium. As far as interior finishes, the board is still at the school, but we have a copy of it on the slide. There are 3 main elements or materials in the building. All of the hallways are terrazzo, and as well as the cafeteria is terrazzo. The majority of the classrooms have wood floors. There are some, probably approximately about 10% of the classrooms in here have vinyl asbestos tile in them, so we have to remove those and replace them with VCT. All of the wood floors that are repairable, we're going to patch and refinish. All of the VAT, as I said, they're going to get taken care of and replaced with VCT. And the terrazzo, even though it could use a little facelift, we're leaving that as an alternate because of the budget concerns that we're currently under. The only areas that get new wood flooring is the gymnasium and the stage. They're past repair, so we're replacing all those. The new administration area gets a new flooring as well. And then the library currently has carpet in there, but there's a beautiful parquet flooring underneath that carpet that we're going to tear out the carpet and refinish that wood floor. Second floor is similar. Most of it is all wood floors as well. As far as materials and color selections, we went back to the Art Deco movement. This building is pretty, it says Art Deco on the outside of the building. So what we tried to do was take some of those elements from the outside of the building into the interior of the building. The interior of the building currently is pretty institutional. Somebody had a lot of baby blue paint and gray paint, and they just plastered it everywhere. What we're trying to do is get some of those elements that were pertinent to the Art Deco movement and bring them back inside the building. Whether it's colors, some of them as vibrant as we could get, and some of them are as toned down as we can get in different areas. The tile patterns in the flooring and in the walls we took some of those details that were evident in the outside of the building and tried to bring them back into the building as part of that Art Deco movement. The two major spaces that we're addressing here is the auditorium and the gymnasium. On the left slide is the auditorium. Currently, it's all baby blue. There are some, with the exception of the seating and the ceiling, we're adding new ceilings throughout the building, obviously, and lighting. And the new auditorium, or the auditorium gets new seating. With the exception of that, all of the detail that you see in front of you is on the walls. It's just been painted over with blue paint. And so what we're trying to do is bring in, using that same color palette that we're using throughout the building, and bring some of those colors back into that space. After we paint the existing structure and the walls of the gymnasium, adding some new athletic equipment, we install a new floor because the existing flooring is pretty much shot, and add some color by using acoustical panels throughout the gymnasium. And that same pattern, as you can see, is still evident in the Art Deco style as well. The hallways, the hallway on the left is actually the administration area. We are taking out the wall that faces the corridor and replacing it with a glass wall. That way we can bring in some of the light from the outside of the building into that hallway and visually expand the administration area without actually adding more square feet. That administration area and at the ceiling-wise is the only hard ceiling that we have, and that also uses some of those Art Deco colors and motifs in that ceiling. The ceiling on the right is a typical hallway ceiling, and it's pretty subdued. We use some of the lighter colors above the lockers, and then the brighter colors we're using at different intersections of hallways as wayfinding for the students and visitors. As far as schedule is concerned, we're projecting to be completed with the design in November of this year, with construction starting sometime in February of 2012, construction being done sometime in July of 2013. As far as the budget's concerned, currently we had a fixed limit of construction at $4 million. The last time I was in front of you, we were over by 1.53. Currently we're over 1.59. We've added some alternates and modified some alternates. The last one being added is the Eat Wise program that was requested from the district to modify the kitchen in future items or future time. The items that are on there now could be done now, but we can always move them back as part of the future work. This time I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Could you go back to the two slides back that showed the one before that? On the picture on the right, is that lighting, is that electrical, or is that like a skylight?
It's all electrical.
Would you anticipate that the electric bill for the school will go up or down from where it is now?
It should go down because we're going to be using more energy efficient fixtures than what they have now.
Thank you.
Other questions, Carla?
So with respect to the kitchen, can you briefly discuss again what's included in the current plan?
Sure. In the current plan, we're bringing the kitchen up to code, meaning the new hood system, a new serving line that would be more accessible from a standpoint of ADA. And anything that they do past that line, past that time, we're trying to do something to where they don't have to deconstruct something that we've done. So the current phase and the Eat Wise program are continuous. So whatever we do now will help the Eat Wise. Whatever we don't do stays the same. And there are currently issues with some of the piping that's in there. We're taking care of all that as well in this phase.
Okay. And can you tell me the $250,000 for the Eat Wise program, what does that comprise of?
The Eat Wise program, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it or not.
I'm familiar with the program. I'm not familiar with what's included in the request.
It's basically having the facility to cook on site.
Okay.
Not having to cook from scratch. And so you need more equipment, different types of equipment, and different spaces.
So does it incorporate everything from
what we do
more
now?
No, I understand. Counter spaces, stove,
Yes.
top, Just
Correct.
New kitchen.
Storage spaces, walk-ins, things like that, because you're going to have storage there.
okay.
Other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Is there a motion to approve?
I move to
Claudia?
approve.
Second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Next, we're being asked to approve the final plan and specifications for Hayes Elementary School, Project ES 62.
Our second presentation and final presentation for today is from LWP Architecture. Mike Tower will be doing the presentation. The project is the cost estimate is slightly over budget, but within reasonable limits. Staff recommends approval of the final plans.
Before the meeting, was thinking this is probably the 9th time we've given a presentation on Hayes, so I'll try and make it fairly quick. But if you have any questions, feel free to either stop me or ask the questions at the end. I'll present the usual things that you would expect to see that you've seen in the previous presentations and look at what we're adding on. And the concepts really have not changed. The costing has changed a little bit, and we've made some adjustments because of that. And we're just excited that we can get it out for bids at this point. The school right now is planned to be a 371-student school. Pre-K through 6, it is like many schools on the south side that it is already in excess of that, but the next program with the bond program is going to add a gym and some more classrooms, so we're very hopeful that it'll address that extra population that they have. It has a $1.4 million in existing building improvements of about 16,000 square feet, which is about a 50% increase. As I mentioned, there are 4 new classrooms, but that really does not tell the whole story. There are some other spaces that we're bringing in from portables. We're moving the computer lab and changing it back into a classroom, moving the media center and changing it into a classroom, and moving the administration area, and it becomes a couple special needs classrooms. So there is more that is being added than just the 4 classrooms. Site and facilities assessment, the building really was in pretty good shape, new windows. There were, oddly enough, at the beginning of this, there was additional funding in here beyond what we needed to do, so we were able to address some things that we really felt were needed that weren't in the site and facilities assessment, most notably a fire sprinkler system that will help deal with some of the code issues and really bring it into a much safer school. One of the issues that we had to defer to a alternate that we had in previously is the roofing system. It was not identified in the site and facilities assessment or in the program to replace it. It is not leaking right now, but it is really getting at the end of its age. So hopefully with, if things come in okay, we may be able to take that. But the usual list that you would expect, the windows, the doors, we're adding new fire hydrants, a little bit of fencing and gates so that it's safer as far as the site, handicapped toilets. Some of those things are the things that you would expect and you've seen in the other projects. The design concept, we were trying to take it and not necessarily match exactly, but take the components that were in there, and we worked on this, and as we worked on it, we realized that the site access was bad. Where the administration area, you couldn't identify or control the entrance and exits to the building, so we moved the administration area and the whole new entrance, and that sort of changed the whole flow for the site. The other thing that we did then was start moving some of the new areas that you typically would see on these projects, the media center, the computer lab, the administration area, over near here where they're accessible from the outside or accessible, from the main entry. So a lot of what you've seen in some of the other projects. As you note here, you can see the addition heading off to the east. coming off an existing corridor, and the new entry, instead of off the west, is now to the south. It has a vestibule, so it's got the control of security for after the kids enter at the very beginning. They can lock it down, and they have to go through the administration area. Also on there, we've shown roughly where the new gym and the additional 4 classrooms that are part of a separate project. The area to split approximately down the middle. We have a single-story addition with the only area that really is 2-story is the toilet rooms and the elevator and stairs, which we're adding, which are the communication spaces. They had asked for toilets on the 2nd floor, and we were able to accommodate that. For the most part, the 1st floor and the 2nd floor are not changing very much. We're doing a little bit in the kitchens, very similar to what they were doing in Taft, new serving line, new hood. The area to the far left is teacher's lounge, a couple special needs classrooms, and that used to be the administration area. And then we're converting stuff back. But the addition with the administration and the media center and computer lab are just right off the main corridor. 2nd floor, again, the same thing. Very little being done to the existing building with the exception of the fire sprinklers. But with the fire sprinklers, we're also adding new ceilings and new lighting, which the lighting was in poor repair, so that'll help them a lot. The exterior elevation or perspective of the new entry with the double canopy and adding a little bit. As you can see, we took the brick, we took some of the other components and tried to match up in the style, but not carry through that early 60s, late 50s, early 60s design, but give it a little bit more modern look. And again, another perspective. The large glass area is the media center, a lot of visibility. The conference room for the admin area is the one with the windows on the left, both on each side of the new entrance. Rendering of the new computer lab with the media center, trying to keep it all very open. Media center and computer labs have kind of changed since the beginning of the program, that they serve multiple uses. Another perspective. A little bit of variety in the ceiling there. And I apologize, the color board does not come off very well on the slide. But we are trying for some of their colors, the reds, and adding some real tones to it that will be exciting for the kids and for the administration. As I mentioned earlier, we were a little bit closer, but some of the construction pricing has gone up. So as one of the things that we did, we pulled the re-roofing the existing building out as an alternate. We are at this point about $77,000 over the PIP budget. And at this point, we are looking that it will probably be, for the full completion of this project, about January of the end of 2012 that we will finish things up because of the phasing that we need to do. And with that, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Questions?
Good.
Thank you
very much.
Since there were no questions, is there a motion to approve the final plans and specifications for Hayes Elementary School?
Approval.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed by like signs. Thank you. We now have a couple of contract amendments. First, recommend the Board of Education of Independent School District number 89 approve amendment number 2 to the contract for architectural services with MA Plus Architecture LLC for Capitol Hill High School, an increase of $35,000.
Mr. Chairman, this increase is due to the additional services that were required of the architect for the work that was done at the auditorium. We've discussed several times in this meeting the upgrades and the historical issues that were left intact.
Any questions about that? Seeing none, I'd recognize a motion to approve this contract amendment.
So moved, Mr.
It's been moved. Is there a second? Moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed by like sign.
No.
Thank you. Passes. Next contract amendment is to recommend to the Board of Education of Independent School District Number 89 approve Amendment Number 2 to the contract for architectural services with HSE Architects for Classen School of Advanced Services, an increase of $15,000, project EB 14.
The additional $15,000 on this contract amendment is to provide for extended construction administration and observation time on the project. This may be the first or second instance of additional costs that are going to come up somewhat for the continuous learning school calendar, and this is one of them.
Are there any questions?
I do have a question, not in relation to this specific, but as it relates to forecasting the costs that may incur as we go through these continuing learning, the calendar. Is staff looking at that to give us a kind of forecast if this is going to change as we go forward?
It's a problem for us. I mean, we're not opposed to the continuous learning calendar. It's just that takes away our flexibility in staging. So we're going to have, again, less flexibility, so it's going to run into more costs, both from architectural services and construction. But at this stage of our program, we don't think it's going to be a fatal flaw for us. We've got enough flexibility.
Well, that's what I wanted to hear. We've got enough contingency and we've got enough to forecast that we think we'll be okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Other questions? Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed by like sign. Thank you. We now have 6 change orders. I'll ask Mr. Carlton to go through each one, and we will answer any questions at the end, and then we will have a vote on all of them at the same time.
Thank you. The first change order, number 9, for North Highland Elementary. It's a very small change order in the amount of $2,217. It brings the total change order percentage to 4.1% for the project. Change order number 4 for Coolidge Elementary is an increase of $33,475. There's really only one major item in the change order. It's to paint the millwork in all the existing classrooms so that the millwork will match the adjacent walls. That's $18,139 of the total. That brings total change order percentage to 3.2 for Coolidge Elementary. Change order number 7 for Fillmore Elementary is $62,252. There are 3 major items. Item number 1 is additional site work for $14,534. That's for sidewalks, landscaping, gates to access the playground area. Item number 5 is for $13,854. That's asbestos flooring was discovered under the carpeting in the existing media center. It has to be removed and abated. And item number 6 is roofing modifications in the amount of $20,300. And the reason this is being done is to avoid more costly relocation of the existing mechanical units. This is a cheaper fix. Altogether, the total for change order number 7 brings the grand total of change orders for this project to 3.8%. Change order number 6 for Stan Wadey Elementary is for $65,389. 2 major items: asbestos abatement again on floor tile, and that's number 3. Item number 8 on the second page is addition of heating and air in one classroom for $15,557. It was omitted from the original bid documents. That brings the total to 6.6% for this project, total change orders. Change order number 4 for Southern Hills Elementary is an increase of $85,697. Major items are, number 1, the door replacement. This is to replace exterior doors that have deteriorated. That's over $17,000. Item number 2 is to replace the fascia around a large part of the building, $22,993. And intercom system rewiring. Intercom system is not working because of poor wiring. This adds another $10,582 for the total of $85,697. It brings the total change orders to 3.9% for this project. Change order number 3 for Sequoia Elementary is a decrease of $46,198. The major credit for this reduction is $64,250 for electrical equipment changes. That brings the total change order for this project to 0.78%.
Are there any questions about any of the change orders? Is there a motion for approval of all the change orders?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Next item, accept project ES 28 Putnam Heights Elementary School and place the maintenance bond into effect.
Putnam Heights Elementary is complete, and staff recommends final acceptance of the project.
Are there any questions? Is there a motion for approval? It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed by like sign. Thank you. Mr. Couch, update the status report.
Right now, we have 27 schools that are in various stages of construction. We have 7 more schools that are scheduled to be bid through this summer. They include Independence Middle School, that'll bid July 26th, Hayes Elementary, that'll bid August 16th, Columbus Elementary on August 23rd, West Nichols Hills Elementary on August 30th, Rockwood Elementary on September 7th, Spencer Elementary on September 13th, Capitol Hill Elementary on September 20th. So when we get that done, there will just be 6 remaining schools to bid at that point in time. So we've got a good run coming up here. Through the brief summer break, new furniture and equipment installations have been completed at Coolidge, Britton, Chavez, Fillmore, and Hillcrest Elementary Schools, and delivery and installation of furniture at Linwood and Southern Hills Elementary are scheduled for early next week. And then, as Mr. Carlton mentioned, due to the district's new continuous learning school calendar, the brief summer break ends in 13 days and school starts on August 1st.
Are there any questions? You also have a status report, a program consultant report, from ADG that's in your packet. Are there any comments by trustees, staff, citizens? Thank you. We're adjourned.